Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Nice to have you come on live when you can. We appreciate that very much. Of course, we appreciate all our folks that tune in to the Doctors In podcast. We love our response to that and your response. And yep, okay, let me say hello to a few friends as we get going here this morning. Mike from Norland, how are you? And Andrea, Niagara Falls, good to have you on. Brahim, the top three. John, right up there, how are you? Sandy, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Fran from Orangeville. All our dear friends, Rosa, dear friend from Montreal. We love having you guys on. Brahim is showing me his coffee cups. Carol, West Virginia. Wendy, Markup. Sherry, Mississauga. Nick from Arsta. Jeanette, how are you? Yvonne Petawawa. And Leela, Werner, right? Milika, Stouffville. Linda, Uppsala. Brenda, how are you? From Bancroft. Donna, Belle, Uber. Sandy, Vancouver, Washington. Wanda in Virginia. Patricia, Florida, how are you? Rita, Sunny Wasaga. And Cecilia from Shediac, Nouveau Brunswick. Dave, how are you from Muskoka? Donna from Park Hill. Yvette, bonjour. Sharon, Kansas. Jeanette, saying good morning to everyone. Shireen, how are you, my friend? Sandy, Francis, and Rosalinda from the Kidneys of Canada. Diane, LaSalle, and Tina, Lise, Haleberry, and Sue, St. Petersburg, Florida. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Carol from Moncton, New Brunswick. Shelley from Sherwood, Alberta. Heather, how are you, Heather? Rita and Teresa. Dunedin, Florida. Elaine, how are you? And Arlene, Dale. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Cheryl, how are you? Wendy from London. Barbara and Anna, good morning. Marlis, how are you? From Manitoba. Darlene, Saskatchewan. Oh, we're going west. Margaret, Lakeland. Gertie, Burlington. And Eliana from Bell River, good morning. Denise, Chatham, Kent. Two more. And I was waiting on you. From St. Catharines. Maria, I'm going to say hello to Doc McEwen. I just assumed she's there. Nativity, and Marianne, and Norma, and Marlene. You guys, I hate to miss anybody. Irene, how are you? Okay, here we go. Questions. Dr. Martin. Okay, let's see. As I look these up here. Okay. Should have done this ahead of time, but here they come, I think. Here we go. There's the questions. They're coming up here. Deb is asking about the U.S. manufacturing of our supplements. When are we up and running? Coming to a theater near you, Deb. You know, one thing. We're at the FDA testing. Hey, you're working with government. It's slow. We're just waiting for final approval, and I think it should be any day. I always tell people, don't hold your breath. But we've been assured that it's coming. So yes, for our American friends, the product should be available very soon. Thanks for the question, Deb. Cindy, I ended up in emergency, and I got a calcific tendonitis in the shoulder. No fun. I'll tell you why. One of the problems with shoulders and hips, okay? I always tell people this. I used to tell them this for 50 years. The problem with a shoulder, so you get a shoulder cuff injury, or you get a frozen shoulder or whatever. One of the reasons shoulders are really tough is because they got no blood supply. There's very little blood supply in the shoulder joint and the hip joint. So when problems start happening there, unlike your knee or your ankle or whatever, it's different because you don't have a lot of blood going there. You got blood, but you don't have a lot of blood. Okay, so I used to call them avascular joints. If you got an avascular joint that's injured, or if you got a calcific tendonitis, you got a little bit of calcium on your tendon up there, it's very hard to heal. Okay, it is. And I used to have exercises that I recommended people with either frozen shoulder or problem shoulder cuff, tear in there, or calcific tendonitis. It's an injury. That just doesn't show up. You injured it. And it has a hard time healing. One of the best things you can do is you get a broomstick or a ruler or a golf club, something very, very light. Lie on your back in your bed. I used to tell patients, and I'm not kidding you, okay? Keep the ruler or yardstick near your bed. Why? Because when you have an avascular joint that's bothering you, the worst time will be at night usually. Because, you got limited blood supply, and then you go to bed, and guess what happens? Yeah, you get a thumb coming up. No. Guess what happens? Okay? When you're in bed, now you got even less. You're not moving. Now you got even less blood supply. So what happens in that shoulder? Boom, a boom, a boom. Starts aching. Take out the yardstick. Take out the golf club. Don't hit your husband with it, but you could. You're lying flat on your back. Both hands, okay, let me get them in the screen. And even with your bad arm, okay, lift that up 20, 30 times over your head. So you're lying flat on your back and go back. And I found, and my patients found, that was one of the best things they could do for shoulder. It's a passive, what they call passive exercise. And that was one of the best things. It helped them sleep at night 2 or 3 times in the night. They would have to do that exercise. But that helps to break down that calcium too. Okay? Now, we talked about this yesterday on the program. Magnesium can be helpful. Okay, I love curcumin. Anti-inflammatory. Helps take inflammation out. And when we get our inflammation formula back, which I hope is very soon, my word, that was one of the best things to get rid of shoulder problems in the area. Okay, thank you very much for the question. And that was, hold on a minute, let me see. That was Cindy Sill. Please ask Dr. Martin if you would review the Dr. Artist show on nicotine benefits. I have. Look, here's my sort of rule of thumb. Okay, I don't want to put my thumb up because then I'm going to have, it'll show up on the screen. Okay, here's my rule of thumb. And I love Dr. Artist. I listen to it. I'm not only on that, he's got some other good videos and that, teachings. I got no problem with that, okay? The only problem with nicotine, like he's saying, as far as I know, okay, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's the only guy that's saying it. Like nicotine cures cancer, warts on your nose to pimples on your toes. I don't buy that. Okay, when one guy is saying it, I've given you examples before. Eating for your blood type. Was the guy a dummy? Dr. D'Adamo? No, he wasn't no dummy. But he was the only guy that said it. He wrote a book about it. It was very successful. Eating for your blood type. I never bought it, what he was saying from the beginning, because I knew it couldn't be true. I knew it couldn't be true. You know, if you have a certain type of blood, you got to eat certain type of food. Look, my background, I got a PhD in nutrition, and I can tell you that everybody and their dog needs B12. Okay? If you don't eat red meat, oh yeah, but red meat, according to that book, I shouldn't be eating red meat. Well, how could that be right? How could it be right for you not to eat a food that's got all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the amino acids, B12, heme iron, or whatever? I couldn't buy it. And it's the same with this doctor, what's his name again? Artist? Yeah. Ardis. I don't buy it on nicotine. Okay? No. He makes some good points. I got no problem with that. You want to watch? I want my people, listen, I want my audience to be the most educated audience around. Okay? God gave you a brain, use it. Okay? But when you ask me my opinion, I'm pretty opinionated. And I'm not dismissing everything. I'm just saying, I don't buy it. Okay? I don't buy it. That's me. I don't think it cures everything, nicotine. So, anyways, okay? That's where I come from, guys. Thanks, Sil. I appreciate it. Teresa, why would my triglycerides be high if I'm eating well? Well, there could be a lot of reasons, okay, for triglycerides. Lifestyle factors. If you're eating well, good for you. What's your lifestyle factors like exercise? Exercise, and especially weight-resistant exercise, really good to get your triglycerides down. Genetics. Genetics are involved to some extent. Some people have hypertriglyceridemia. They just, the way they're built. And if you're doing everything you can, Teresa, to get that down, good for you. Alcohol, smoking, diabetes can cause, medications. You got to give me more information, okay? Steroids, a lot of things can cause your triglycerides to go up. The overarching principle with triglycerides is when you lower your carbohydrates, when you lower sugar, when you empty your liver, your triglycerides go down and your HDL goes up. That is 99% of the population. So, Teresa, if you're an exception to that, you're weird. No, I'm teasing. You're unique. Okay? I had to change my vocabulary years ago because people said on my radio show, Doc, you offended me. I said, well, I didn't mean to be offensive. I was just teasing you. Okay? I came from a family, we were 11 siblings. You better have a thick skin in my family because, man, oh man, they get on you. And I developed a thick skin and I could give it back with the best of them. Okay? So all I'm saying is, you're different. But keep doing what you're doing because it'll save your bacon. Okay? I mean that. Okay, thank you very much. And that was Teresa. If your HDL is good, Teresa, good for you. And when you say they're high, tell me how high they are. Send me an email at info@martinclinic.com and give me your numbers. Give me your triglycerides versus your HDL. Okay? I'd really like to know those numbers. And sometimes I can direct you even better. Okay? Lise is asking, okay, I was wondering specifically about kids that are nonverbal, tantrums, eczema, all sorts of issues. They do a parasite cleanse and a heavy metal cleanse, and they're fixed. Well, good for them. I used to do that in my office all the time. I didn't guess, I test. That was my motto, by the way, in the office. I don't guess, I test. I tested for parasites. I tested for candida. I tested for heavy metals, doing a urine test for heavy metals. Okay? Mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum. And if we saw it, we detoxed. I'm all for it, Lise. 100% for that. Like I said, I didn't guess, I tested, okay? Would they get the same result with a good diet and water? No. Look, it didn't matter who you were. You came to my office. I don't care if you were a kid or whatever. You got a diet. You got a little lecture. Even kids are smart, you know. Okay? Kids are very smart. You and sugar, I used to tell people, kids, even kids, they're smart. You and sugar don't get along. What? Well, you know, when you start your morning and you want cereal, don't do that. What? Well, you and cereal don't get along. So I want you to cut that out. Are you ready to do it? Okay? And kids are smart. And parents, I'd say, look, I know they like cereal, but them and cereal don't get along. I know they like orange juice, but them and orange juice don't get along. Stop it. They're the canary in the coal mine. They're very fragile. Their brain is super sensitive. Where you think a kid gets away with it, your child is not. So you got to sort of figure that out. So they always got a diet, Lise, always. They always were told, get off sugars and try and not live on carbohydrates, okay? You need more protein in your diet and you need more eggs, meat, and cheese, okay? And I eliminated heavy metals, toxins, parasites. Did everything I could to get rid of all that stuff. Thanks for the question, Lise. We appreciate it. Okay, let's get back here. Turn on my little iPad here. Okay. And what's the next one? Cheryl. What did Dr. Martin think of the carnivore diet versus EMC? Well, EMC really is a carnivore diet, isn't it? Okay, carnivore is eggs, meat, and some carnivore don't like dairy at all, but most of them will give you a little bit of dairy. The EMC is, it's a carnivore diet to some extent, but here's what I say, and here's the difference. Because a lot of people love the carnivore diet, and they stay on the carnivore diet. Okay, forever. I got no problem with it. If you can do it, do it. But I always gave my patients a plan to succeed, not to fail. Okay. I studied psychology just enough to be dangerous. But I learned something, okay? Always try and give patients a plan to succeed, not to fail. I did it in weight loss. I did it, you name the condition, diabetes or whatever. I said, okay, listen to me. You need to trust me for 30 days. Can you do that? Can you trust me for 30 days? I'm reaching out to you guys out there right now. Do you trust me? Give me 30 days of your life. That's all I used to tell them. For EMC, give me 30 days. Okay? And I will change your life. The way you eat has such an effect on your body. Okay? Not going to happen overnight. But this, my friend, was science. Okay? This, my friend, was science. It wasn't moderation, eat in moderation. It wasn't the big food companies who, well, you need sugar, you need glucose. No, you don't. Okay? But I always used to give my patients, they never left my office without a plan to eat. I would start as that being the foundation of your health. You have to eat anyway. So why don't I show you what to eat? And I want you to be very strict for 30 days. After that, okay, once I've corrected, once you've corrected insulin resistance, fatty liver, your pancreas gets a reset, your liver gets a reset, your metabolism gets a reset, your heart gets a reset, your brain gets a reset, your bowel gets a reset, your stomach gets a reset, your joints get a reset. Okay? It's a reset. So for 30 days, you have the EMC or carnivore diet. Okay? And I've said this to you 10,000 times, but I'll repeat it again. You know what you learn after 30 days? You know what you learn? People would be astonished what they learned. You know what they learned? Me and carbs, we don't get along. I'm not really, I really don't do well on the wrong fuel. I found out that I'm more like a jet plane than a little Volkswagen or whatever. Okay? You do better with a better fuel. Your inflammation comes down. You realize that most people realize, gee, I was eating a lot more carbs than I thought, and me and carbs don't get along. You learn some real important life lessons when it comes to food and your relationship to food. And all your biomarkers get better. But it's 30 days. Okay? And then, because I want to give you a plan to succeed, okay, most people will now be always low carb. They'll never go back to eating the high carbohydrates, okay, that they used to. They won't live on grains. They won't live on pasta. They won't live on noodles. They won't live on bread. They won't live on bagels. They won't live on muffins. They just don't live on that. They don't live on cereal. A lot of people were consuming cereal on a daily basis, and they realized, you know what? I wasn't starting my day very well, and I never really realized it till I started eating bacon and eggs in the morning, or sausages, breakfast meat or whatever. And then I said, gee, I feel better with that stuff. Yeah. And it was an education, guys. It was science. Because when you eat a high octane fuel, you change your fuel, your mitochondria, your battery packs within your cells go, hallelujah, thank you. Because they were built for that. You were built, okay, to eat that way. Now, after 30 days, you want to have some fruits and vegetables? I'm all for it, and I mean it. Okay? But you just understand that unlike what the world tells you, fruits and vegetables are not on the top of the food chain. Because that's what the world says. You need grains and you need fruits and vegetables. And meat, eggs, meat, and cheese are down here. You need some, but you better, there's nothing like fruits and vegetables and grains. That's not true. It's never been true. You're not meant to live on fruits and vegetables. You're just not. It's devoid of nutrient. If you, I'll give you an example. You're a vegetarian. And you don't take B, you have to supplement with B12. You have to. So how can that be complete? It can't be. You see what I am? See what I'm saying? And it goes against the grain of the world, but the world's wrong. That's all. That's all I can tell you. They're wrong. It was influenced by Dr. Kellogg's and the food industry. And when medical doctors don't take any nutrition or very little in medical school, they got duped. I used to say this on my radio show all the time. You're better off going to your plumber to get nutritional advice than going to your doctor. Because doctor, cholesterol, can't eat your cholesterol is going to kill you. So don't eat meat. Limit your eggs. Bacon. Oh, you're going to have a heart attack on the spot. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay? There you go. So, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Carnivore, hey, I like it. I love it, as a matter of fact. But the reset is better because it's meant for you to win and succeed. Okay? It's a 30-day program that changes your whole thinking on food. And listen guys, I've been around a long time. I get feedback from people every day. They get it. They tried the reset and now they got it. They go, yeah, you were right, doc. You were right. I'm right. And look, I know people, there's some people on this morning that have been on really a carnivore diet for autoimmune or whatever their conditions were, and they just eat that way all the time. And I got no problem with that. But you have to understand that when I talk in generalities to people, and if I tell someone, okay, you can never have this again, I usually don't do that. Okay? But I want you to limit it. Okay, I can live with that. Hey, doc, it's my birthday. Can I have some pasta tonight? Yeah, go for it. Okay? I don't want you to live on it. Okay? I married an Italian. I don't live on the noodles. I don't live on spaghetti. I love the meat though. Okay? And that's just a habit. It's just a matter of forming a habit. Do you understand where I'm getting at? Where I'm coming from? Okay? And that's me. And I teach it. And I've written about it. And I preach it. Because it works. And I can show people that have insulin resistance. I can show 99.9% of people that have high triglycerides, which are extremely dangerous, and low HDL, and I can reverse that. I can reverse most of the time with food, high blood pressure, kidney dysfunction, fatty liver, a stomach with acid reflux because your stomach was made to eat meat and you don't eat enough meat, you eat too many carbs, you have too much sugar, your pH of your stomach becomes more alkaline, and that's the last thing you want to happen. There you go. Okay. I was getting excited there. Okay. And that was Cheryl. Thanks, Cheryl. Nancy, what do you think of a tea called Essiac tea? Well, every Friday I got to do this, so I'm going to do it again. Okay? I did it with, who was that? Sil, asking about nicotine benefits. Well, because we're online, people have podcasts, you can go on YouTube. We got a lot more information today than we ever had. And I always say there's certain things that get their day in the sun. Do you know what I mean by that? Okay? And Essiac tea got its day in the sun. I remember 25 years ago, maybe more than that. Everybody and their dog was asking me about Essiac tea. Dr. Martin, what do you think of Essiac tea? Renee, what was her name? Casey or Renee? I can't even remember. This nurse in Canada cured cancer, apparently, with Essiac tea. Listen, I had to answer the question every week on my radio show. Every week I had to answer that question. I had to answer it in my office almost every day. Dr. Martin, what about Essiac tea? Isn't this the cure for cancer? And I said, no, it's not. Now, let me put a disclaimer on this. If I had cancer, I might try Essiac tea. Not going to hurt me. Okay? But it doesn't cure cancer, guys. If one person got cured, good for you, and I'm all for it. I used to tell my patients this, okay? This is a true story, guy. I did it every day. If I thought for 1 minute that I could cure you by hanging you upside down from my office building here, I would go up on the roof and hold you from your feet. I'd hold on to you if I thought I'd cure you. You know, Essiac tea, is it good? Yeah, I guess so. Does it cure cancer? Nah. Did some people get cured of it? Maybe. And good for them. I'm not against it. I'm just telling you. When someone says I got a cure for cancer, run, Forrest, run. I got a protocol that I used to give my patients who had cancer. And you know what the number one thing was? Get off sugar. Stop eating sugar. That'll do better than Essiac tea because you're feeding it. Sugar feeds cancer. Get off of it. And I'll tell you what, if you look at studies on high DHA and how it can destroy tumors, I would put that way above Essiac tea. I'd put that above nicotine, way above it. Okay? And again, I'm not saying any of these things are not good. I'm just telling you, I think there's better things as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Again, I'm very opinionated, guys. You ask? I don't try and shy away from answering your questions. Okay? But I'm going to give you my opinion. You know what's nice about being old? Okay. Not many things, but this is a nice, you name it, I've heard of it. Almost, I can't, look guys, I've been around, especially with me being in the media for as long as I have, having my own health show. And guys, there's almost nothing new under the sun. I get asked these questions all the time. I love it. But I'm going to give you my opinion. If I've experienced these things, if I've seen it, if I've read about it, if I've experienced it in my office, man, I'll give you my honest opinion. Okay? Okay, guys. I think we got more questions. We'll probably have to do that Monday. Monday will be Monday. Afternoon session. Okay? Afternoon. Okay? Now, look at me. Look at my face. Have I told you guys that I love you lately? Are some of you guys not feeling the love? I want to tell you we love our audience. You guys are the best. You're the smartest. You ask the best questions. Okay? Nothing like the doctor is in audience. Thank you guys. You've made this show so successful. Okay? Tell your friends about it. They can watch it live on Facebook or watch replays or get them on their smart device, the Doctor's In podcast. Okay? On Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Okay. We love you dearly. Talk to you soon.